You filthy animals.
How's my buddies over at the R2 Sonic Campfire doing today?
Never well. Keep them warm.
Oh, man.
You guys should come. You're my good luck charms, man. I always catch fish with you guys.
Is there room on the bus?
Because I look at you guys, and the 8 or 9 of you guys impressed me a lot. You know, because I first ran. Okay. You know.
No, go on.
You guys.
I don't do advertising. You're not going to see me on billboards or in newspapers, classifieds, none of that. Well, yeah, there's that because, you know, you guys are awesome. But
Yeah, well, that's comforting to know in case I say something stupid.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're hearing it real
That's
time.
kind of our thing, so don't step on our turf.
Yeah, come on, man.
Oh, man, I hope I don't.
What we're saying is actually new, so that's why we're fumbling a little bit, but it's going to sound amazing.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Rotten River Pursuits Podcast. Tonight we are gathered around the Sonic Campfire.
We fired up a little early.
Yeah, Will,
There was a drag.
Will was ready to strike it. I'm Kyle. Who do I have with me?
I'm Steve.
I'm Will.
I'm Ryan.
And guys, we are reality outdoor radio where we connect you with the people, skills, and products that you can trust.
You can trust them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited about tonight's guest that we have tonight, fellas.
Really?
But, buddy, don't you want to know about this month's sponsor?
I guess if you have to tell us about them, hit us with it.
This episode is brought to you in part by Mountain Dew Kickstart.
Yeah, it is.
A Mountain Dew Kickstart is a great tasting morning refreshment beverage.
Don't you mean replenishment beverage?
Maybe, but I know I get some refreshment from it.
Yeah, well, I need that replenishment.
Well, maybe we'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Or we just agree on the fact that it gives you both, bud.
I can totally get behind that.
It also energizes you in the morning to provide you with that appropriate boost to start your day. Kickstart is a delicious combination of juice, caffeine, and Mountain Dew.
All three.
It's got them, bud.
Triple threats.
It sure is. It sure is. Hey, all those flavor options are out there, too. You got the pineapple, orange, mango, the black cherry, fruit punch, mango, lime. There's even a raspberry citrus, but guess what?
I need to try that pineapple orange mango.
It sounds delicious, but you got Stevie's favorite, of course, the orange citrus.
Orange citrus.
Those
In the
orange cans, they're all full up in the fridge. You got to reach.
You have to wait around them
Yeah,
to
you do.
get to other things. But I usually end up just grabbing one because it's right there, bud.
So, you know, if you want to start your morning off like the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Steve Miser.
I know I do.
Just grab yourself a Mountain Dew Kickstart and give your day a kickstart. Delicious. Oh, good stuff. Kyle, I know you said you were excited about this week's guest, but are you as excited as
How are you
Stevie
going
is?
to kickstart this off?
Oh, I like that.
Fellas, tonight's guest.
Yeah?
I know usually we're traveling over the greater byways and flyways of the Sonic Campfire.
I mean, it doesn't have a bound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it's
no limits.
the
No
skyways and byways.
Geography knows
Flyways.
nothing when it comes to podcasts. But tonight's guest is a PA boy.
You hit local, did
He's
you?
in-house, too.
In-house.
We're really racking up these in-house
I
guests.
love the in-house guests.
Stevie can't get enough of them.
I feel more confident when we bring him to the semi-finished studio.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Well, our guest is a small game slaying, deer hunting, killing, bear driving, podcast listening.
Is that right?
Quacker.
Quack duck chasing.
Tastic.
He's quacktastic.
He is.
He does it all.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Matt Weidman. Matt, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I can live up to all that hype you just gave me.
Oh, you absolutely
That was
can.
a good introduction.
That was a good hype up.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I'm like, I want to know this guy.
But it's true. I mean, from what we know of Matt, and we've had some run-ins and some interactions with him, and I mean, Matt is truly a good old PA boy.
Yeah.
And he's doing it in the outdoors. So
yeah.
If you eat squirrel pot pie, you must. You might be a PA redneck.
And it's funny, the timing on this is impeccable. We've recently talked with Matt in studio during one of our current episodes where we hit up his squirrel pot pie recipe.
Yeah.
Right.
Stevie had all kinds of questions about that stuff, so we couldn't get enough of it.
Yep.
He
Welcome
didn't
aboard,
divulge
Matt.
a whole lot.
Yeah.
He just said squirrel.
Well, we learned though, and I'm taking this as a very, it's a personal learning lesson for me. I learned you got to boil the squirrel
Boil
first.
those squirrels, yep.
Yeah.
Do your whole pot pie thing, but before you throw the meat in, it's you're boiling the
I was
squirrel
looking
first.
for an old Grandma Weidman recipe, like where pinch of this and a dash of that.
You got one of those, Matt?
I don't.
Are you making your own noodles?
No.
In that recipe?
I'm not that good, no. Not that
That's
good.
where Grandma Weidman steps in. She's rolling the noodles out.
I've never eaten squirrel. If you had to liken it to a meat that I have eaten, what would you pick?
Iguana.
Tilapia.
Yeah.
Iguana.
Dark turkey meat.
Really?
Yeah.
I love dark turkey meat.
Then you'd love squirrel.
Really?
Actually, you're not wrong with that as far as the flavor goes. I was trying to be funny when I said tilapia because couldn't think of an exotic species of game off the top of my head.
Like iguana?
Like iguana. Yeah. I'm not as quick as
I've
Will.
never had iguana.
Emu?
Llama.
But the dark turkey meat isn't far off. Yeah.
It's as close as I could find.
I'm going to be getting me some squirrels.
Matt, so you're quite the diverse outdoorsman. Why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown, kind of how you got introduced to the outdoors?
Run it down, buddy.
Well, just like every other Pennsylvania boy, I would imagine, it came in the family. Earliest memories are out there with my dad, grandpa, my uncle out there.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
That's the best.
Another tradition story there, isn't it?
What's that?
Another tradition story. This is, we hear that from so many people.
Yeah.
About just family.
That's how I got into it. And then my earliest memories are 7, 8 years old. And I wasn't even able to hunt yet. They didn't have the mentor program yet.
Yep.
And Dad made up this backpack, but it was a sleeping bag that I would put on my back. And I'd carry that out in the woods with me. And I'd lay at his feet in the sleeping bag. And that's where I all got it. And then it was time for me to start hunting. And I was ready.
That's great.
Did you have those hand warmers?
Oh, I had.
That had the little sticks that you had to light, and then you put it in that little metal box.
No.
So Will, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were those not the strangest things in the world?
Yeah.
But they worked, right?
Yeah.
They do have a very distinct smell.
Some of them didn't work as well.
I remember
you
that.
build a fire in a box and put your hands in it.
No, it's like a little fuel stick.
Yeah.
I've seen them, but
you light the corner of it, and it's almost like what do they call those, punks or whatever? The little the things that keep mosquitoes away.
Yeah.
It's not really burning.
It's kind of like a little piece of charcoal inside like a metal tin.
Yeah. Well, the next time that we record at my house, I want to break one of those out because I found one. Is it Coleman? Not the cooler company, but there's a company that makes outdoor like camping and backpacking equipment.
Yeah,
Makes
Coleman.
those.
Coleman.
Yeah. And
like Cool Man.
Cool Man. COLE.
Like
man.
COOL.
No, Coleman.
That's
not
even better.
Coolman.
Cool Man.
I believe it's Coleman.
Well, even if you put the
I think I
emphasis,
can help you with this. Cool Man.
Yeah.
Cool Man.
I think I can help you guys
It's,
out.
yeah,
here.
it's
even if you put the
KEWEL.
emphasis on the wrong syllable, the good news is we all know what I mean. And that very distinct smell comes right back. Oh, I want you to smell it, Will, and tell me if it doesn't take you immediately back to being
time machine.
7, 8 years old, curled up in a ball, shivering.
I'm starting to smell
while
it right now.
your dads or
I
your uncles are
literally,
hunting.
There's not one in the vicinity, and I'm starting to smell it. I know, but
Just that
I
idea.
can't wait to actually smell it again.
It's good stuff.
Then
So they drug you out there though, in the cold.
Dad didn't. There was no dragon. I was right.
You're
behind
ready
him.
to go.
I was
Yeah.
ready
You're
to
chasing
go.
them.
Yeah.
Did you wear the muck boots with the bread bags?
No.
Am I?
You
Did you ever
I can remember wearing bread bags on my feet.
Yeah.
With sneakers or those stupid rubber boots.
They wanted you to not get your feet wet.
Yeah.
Always looking
None of
out.
you guys have done that.
I heard stories of it. I just have never
man.
experienced it directly.
Your parents were rich.
Must be nice to have boot liners.
My last name's Muck.
So you're tagging along with your pop out in the woods before you could even hunt. What's your earliest memory of you actually being able to be out in the woods?
Hunting or while not hunting?
No, like hunting. Being of the legal age.
Carrying your own weapon,
Yeah.
as it were.
12.
It would have to be the first time I ever carried a rifle out in the woods. I got my doe. Youth deer season, first day out.
First time.
First time.
First day.
First time carrying a rifle out in the woods.
Lucky.
Yeah, it was luck.
Yeah.
It was luck because it actually came off a drive.
Oh,
And
really?
We weren't part of the drive.
So we talked. We talked
nice.
a little bit about drives when we had you in studio hanging out with us. We need to get into that.
Yeah.
I think a little bit. But at 12 years old, first hunt, drives being put on, and you were successful on your first one.
Yeah, we were just happened to be in the general area, and
General area.
Reporting for duty. Is that?
From what I can imagine, this doe squirted out to try to go around the drivers and kind of squirt back down into where she came from.
Big mistake.
Yeah, we just happened to be in the right spot, right time.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's where that flank comes in.
Yep.
That's where that flank man comes in that you're talking about to prevent that from them squirting out of the drive and looping back down and around. But, yep.
In this case, you guys were unknowingly flanking.
Yes,
their drive.
exactly.
Nice.
And this was your first time out with a rifle ever?
Ever, yep.
Wow.
What
That's
gun
awesome.
were you using?
30-30, bolt action.
You still have it?
Bolt action 30-30.
Bolt
Action, yep.
I, too,
Wow.
used a 30-30 bolt action.
I don't have that gun because I was borrowing that gun from my uncle, but then I liked that gun so much I ended up went and buying my own 30-30 bolt action. Took a while to find it, but I bought one.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
Who makes that?
Savage.
340,
I think is the model.
Okay.
I had a J.C. Higgins, which was a Sears and Roebuck, kind of probably Savage made it for them, probably.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, you don't hear 30-30 bolt action very much.
No, I was
First time I
just
heard of one.
immediately going to the old school Winchester lever action because that's what I cut my teeth on.
Yep,
or
same
mine was
here.
Marlin, but yeah.
Yep, I still hunt with a 30-30 to this day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've transitioned away from
That's unfortunate for you.
the
Yeah.
30-30.
Well, we welcome your transitioning process.
Your parents must be rich.
Way to bring it back to that, Stevie. I love it.
Call back.
So I know when I was 12 years old, actually it ended up being when I was 13, and I took my first doe, and really what it ended up taking, and I'm pretty sure I talked to you guys about this on the podcast, how many rounds it took.
We had to edit some of the rounds out just to make it sound real.
She was only hit twice, but in my defense, I was super excited, and I went through. It was like I was duck hunting with Stevie.
Right on.
The boxes of ammunition that were going through. Let me ask you, the situation you had at 12 years old, first time in the woods with a rifle. We talking
sniper?
Did you sniper one shot, one kill?
Two.
Two
Hit
hits or two shots?
2 shots.
Oh, well.
2 shots, 2 hits. I shot a little
You don't
high
have to
the first
brag
time.
about it. Jeez. It's really rubbing it in there.
No, first shot hit a little high.
All right.
One finished her off.
One more to do the job. So
There you go.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
How excited were you?
You got to sneak in the first congratulations for
Let me be the first to say.
something that happened, over a decade ago.
Congratulations on the marksmanship as well, because I can tell you from personal experience, as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old or a 14-year-old, I mean, the first time that you're looking through the scope, I mean, We talk about
got
sewing
the
machine
jitters,
leg,
huh?
but everything gets to shaking.
Oh, that's how I was after it was all said and done.
Yeah.
Well,
Shaking.
especially under those circumstances of like a drive, it's not like you can build up. Not like you can calm yourself down. It's
That's a really good point, Kyle's. What kind of distance are we talking about on that? I mean, how far was she when she popped out of this drive trying to sneak around it?
For me, probably about 40 yards.
Okay.
I'm going back in my memory bank. It's been a while, but I think about 40 yards.
And generally, when they sneak out of these drives, they're literally sneaking. Right?
Yeah, they're
so
trying
she was just
to
kind of
squirt up,
moseying along.
Yeah,
and you like you said, you guys were in the right place at the right
Yep.
time. Nice.
I gotta stop us right here.
Go ahead.
Oh,
bud.
come on, Stevie.
Pump the brakes. We're talking about these drives, but we're making a huge assumption
Right.
that everybody
That
listening
somebody
knows
heard the-
exactly how these drives go
That
down.
people heard the current.
Well,
Yeah.
you're right. I'm making those assumptions. So let's say hypothetically that you don't. What would you ask if you didn't?
Like, where do you start? Like, where do you meet? Like, let's start from the beginning.
Your
So,
house.
so you meet. I'm guessing you got a bunch of guys at camp. And you meet on the front porch or
Start
whatever,
there, yep.
and then take it from there.
So this is a separation though, Matt, from your story because you weren't part of that organized drive, right? You guys were just fortunate enough to be, like you said, in the right place,
On the
right
receiving
time.
end of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're changing gears a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was some downshifting coming.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to try to talk and focus a little bit on the tactics and the techniques revolved around
hard-hitting drive
the
talk.
deer drive. It is a Pennsylvania tradition.
Oh, yes,
You know,
for sure.
A lot of folks, myself included, grew up hunting deer this way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that we take an opportunity with a fellow PA outdoorsman
Yeah.
in studio
Oh yeah.
to talk through some of these
I
things.
love it.
So let's go through it. Hypothetically, let's pretend that Stevie doesn't know anything about it.
All right.
Anything.
But for real, he doesn't.
Hypothetically.
For real.
Realistically, hypothetically speaking.
Well, meet on the front porch camp.
Mhm.
Figure out who's going to be sitting and standing.
What do you mean sitting and standing?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
And you
Well,
know,
look, what does that mean? We figure out who's
One
gonna-
guy's gonna sit.
I understand that.
you have
Sit where, stand where.
well, that's the
Well,
first thing.
You
You got
have
to come
to
up with an
decide
area.
whether or not you're
where you-
sitting or standing before you determine where.
I'll let you keep going there.
I don't know if you will.
Well, that's a good
Please
point.
hold the question, Stevie.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. You got to come up with an area where you want to hunt,
Okay.
where you're going to push out.
Okay.
It might be a patch. It might be a small patch of woods in the middle of a field.
Could be a whole
It
mountainside.
could be a mountainside. It could, like
And I'm guessing that varies depending on how big your group is, right?
Correct, yes.
Yes.
or location.
Now, Stevie, when he says push out, that means the area that they're going to drive out.
Sure.
Drives are somewhat often known as pushes.
I can see that.
He's envisioning it. I can see it in his eyes.
Pushes, yeah.
All right.
All right.
So you got your standers and your
And your pushers
sitters,
or drivers. Yep.
drivers. Oh,
And
my.
normally,
Matt drives for a living.
what's that?
I said, and Matt drives for a living,
do,
which
yes.
is really cool. I think.
I didn't even know you can make a living doing that. That is awesome.
I'm gonna have a stern talk
Where
with
do I
my
sign
guidance
up?
counselor.
I could do deer drives for a living.
No, he drives dump trucks.
Oh, well, I knew that was a career.
Sitting or
I thought-
standing?
Sitting.
Okay.
Good.
You guys got me confused.
Great
here.
question, Stevie.
I just wanted to throw that in there because this guy knows he has some cred with the sitters and the standers.
So, again, Stevie,
Yeah.
we're trying to help you envision this,
Yes.
right? So that you can see it in your mind's eye, as they say. So you've got a predetermined area
Location.
Okay.
that you're going to put on the drive.
Can you wrap your head around that?
I can get that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's easiest if you think of it in terms of a rectangle.
Okay.
Oftentimes,
Yes.
groups that get together like this will try to cordon off an area or identify an area and build this idea of a rectangle.
a rectangle of people around this area.
A rectangle of space.
Okay.
And we're going to put some standers on one end.
Yep.
Drivers
Here's
on
your
another.
standers. Right here. I'm using his
Will's drawing a visual
his
on it right
note-
now for Steve.
His broken Samsung phone.
his Note 1.
Yeah.
It's here's your standers on the right hand side of the phone near your camera. And you're gonna have drivers start on the left hand, the opposite side.
Yeah.
And
they're gonna walk. So it depends on how many guys you have. So you have 3 people sitting and 4 people driving.
Right.
Or 3 people driving. These 3 people will walk towards the sitters.
So what do you do when you're walking? Are you trying to be as loud as possible?
You can be as loud as possible if you want to.
It depends
on the style of
on
drive.
the drive.
Yes.
What you need to do to extract the deer from that area. So if you have, like I said, like if you only have 2 dudes, you're gonna want to just kind of creep and just nudge the deer in that direction. But there's 0 guarantees. Like they could go this way, they could go up the mountain, down the mountain, out to the watch. They can push out around you.
Lots of variables.
Yeah, Stevie.
Stevie struggles with variables.
Stevie, what also
we need like a NFL whiteboard.
What oftentimes too, like say your phone is the area that you're driving out.
He's right now he's trying to be like he's thinking to himself, that seems like a pretty small area for a deer to
I
hide.
would never.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
But
know. It's
You have to think of your
I don't
phone.
know why you need 3 guys to cover that, but whatever.
You have to think of your
Whatever
phone
you're into.
as like as deer habitat or a thicket.
Yeah.
So assume outside of your phone is either open fields or like geographical features that would deter the deer from wanting to go those ways. So
Gotcha.
over here could be a mountainside or an open field, and then over here could be a creek or another open field.
This could be this part. If I tilt it on a angle,
Well, now it looks like Bedford.
yeah, it could be this is the top of the mountain, so this would be your top flanker, your middle of the mountain, and then your bottom flanker.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
So the whole concept behind the drive is you want to push the deer in a direction that they're naturally going to want to travel.
You're basically herding.
Yeah.
Herding.
So
Okay.
when you design the drives and the layout, you're thinking of where the deer are going to run naturally, and then so you're going to have somebody start where at the beginning, and then guys at the end where you think the deer are naturally going to want to run to.
And you're gonna want to consider escape routes and things like that. Where
Yes.
there's this big rock formation, so they're gonna drop in below that. So then you're gonna want to have a flanker down low. Blah 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 blah. This stuff does not happen in one drive. This is like years and years and
Is
years.
there etiquette
Oh,
for a
yeah.
drive?
Yes.
Like, throw some of that at me.
It sounds like there's no etiquette
Yeah.
when one is like it's so awesome too. Like, cause like you can hear different people or groups of people driving stuff out the mountain. And they're hauling around, they're blowing whistles, they're doing whatever. And it sounds hideous. It sounds like total chaos, but it's not.
It's an organized
It's
chaos.
very, very organized.
That's a good way to put it.
That hooping and hollering is not only to startle the deer and get them up and moving, but it's also for you to help locate where you're at compared to the next guy. So you guys are staying in a continuous line.
The drivers can hear you getting closer. Like there's all kinds of,
Gotcha.
sonar is a big factor.
So help me understand, Matt, if you could.
Loud pipes save lives.
The whole, the whole shooting concept. So that there's got to be, you have to know, if I'm driving, I've got to know where my, the guys sitting are posted up at, because I obviously don't want to take a shot.
That's right.
In that direction. So
Safety is everything, man. You have to be insanely conscious. That's what makes it like next level hard.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't mean to take that away from you, Matt.
No.
But honestly, like safety is everything, because you have, not only do you have people walking hopefully in the same similar line, but you have people in front of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be. You can't just willy nilly anything.
Yes.
So I think I asked this in the current, but who shoots? Like who shoots? So if we're all, there's 3 of us and we're not that far apart. I mean, we're not that far apart. We're far enough that you can, still see them. I imagine. But who shoots?
I'm. If you're getting close to the watch, it gets harder for the drivers to shoot. When you first start, there's a lot of times there's a lot of distance between you and the watch.
Yeah.
And in the big woods and the hardwoods, bullets really, I don't want to overgeneralize it and make a weird statement that people can debunk, but like there's a lot of things in between you and the watch. Yeah. So there's trees everywhere. There's angles of terrain where bullet, trajectories can just dissipate.
There's less likelihood of.
Yeah, I think to add to that, it's going to be dependent. Generally, your standers or sitters are going to be the ones shooting, but there are times and locations that your drivers are also going to be able to have shooting options or shooting abilities.
You wear orange?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. So this is
when you're doing.
Okay. I mean, by law, there's orange requirements.
Yeah.
For the state of Pennsylvania, but then there's also, if you're hunting with this tactic, oftentimes you'll see guys wearing considerably more than the minimum requirement.
Yeah.
The key is to do it with someone with guys you trust.
Sure.
I wouldn't pick up just any random person and go do this.
No.
And actually,
you're right.
So Stevie, actually, the state is familiar so much so with drives occurring that they actually have regulations.
Acts of driven.
Yeah, that they actually have regulations revolving around drives. As far as how many guys you can have. At what point do you need to have a roster? All of that stuff.
Wow.
So it's a big part of Pennsylvania hunting heritage.
Yeah.
It is too, and it's a different language. Like my situation, like some guys will have to go really hard to keep up with the bottom guys. Like it's not the same terrain.
Yep.
So like the top guy, it's like once you get to the bear tree, you gotta hang a left, but you gotta haul. Whatever to get down there so that
generally
you can
they say haul hiney.
To keep up with the bottom guys, so that you don't. If you miss that, then they're gonna kick out, and you can, like, it doesn't matter if every year. You
lose a driver.
You lose.
Every camp's got a list of drivers that have been lost.
Well, it's just funny that someone's gonna blow something, and it's like, it's not. It's just there's a lot of variables. So,
I think a good way for Stevie to think about it, as far as to answer that question of the who shoots scenario. Because you've been pheasant hunting with the group and you're familiar with that, and picture a dog flushing birds out in front of a group of people walking in a line. If it's done properly and it's done with common sense, the dog's not in danger, even though he's in front of everyone.
Right.
It's the same scenario. Everyone has a field of fire.
Yep.
That you can safely do. And if a bird flushes and goes straight back between the walkers, nobody's shooting till the bird's behind and it's cleared the group, and then you can take a shot or two. Use common sense. Don't do with people that don't know what they're doing.
We did, when pheasant hunting, duck hunting, basically say, you're going to shoot this 45-degree area or 30-degree or whatever from here to here. Okay, so it's basically the same thing.
And most of the time, in all honesty, it's the people that are organizing these drives know what they're doing, and if there's people who are new to the idea or new to the area, oftentimes they're going to be the standers. Like Matt was saying, the first thing you do is you identify who's standing and who's driving. Your drivers are going to be the guys that A, know the land, and B, understand the concept of a drive.
Sure.
I remember
You're going to post somebody up and say, stand here till somebody comes up and grabs you and brings you back to the truck.
Yes.
If you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You do that a handful of times, you start to learn.
Gotcha.
And remember I told you, like, I spent my whole hunting career being kind of like told what to do by, there's a general at every camp, and he says, go to this stand. But like when it comes time to drive, this dude is telling you, you're the bottom guy. Make sure that you hit this point when this guy does that and blah, 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 blah. Like everything is mapped out. And then
it's so coordinated, it's ridiculous. And especially in the bigger the group, the more coordinated it gets.
That's amazing. I don't know if the general population has an appreciation for that, because it sounds like, when you think, when the average person thinks about, a group of guys deer hunting, I don't think that, I don't think that would be something that's come to mind.
That's the funny thing about Dry Stevie, though, is they're not just limited to deer hunting.
Yeah.
A lot of PA hunters also use drives for bear as well.
Squirrel drive.
And I mean, honestly, when you think about it, most hunting tactics are, kind of drive based. Think about when you're small game hunting, you're walking, trying to flush the rabbits, the pheasants, you're trying to drive those animals out of that area to come up and it's no different with.
Sometimes when we go wet wading, we put on a smallmouth drive.
Yeah. Smallmouth drives are my favorites.
Matt, I think you mentioned about bear hunting that way, correct?
Yes.
Is there differences between a bear?
I wear clothes.
Should have seen that one coming.
Oh yeah, sorry, I teed
Doesn't
that
it get
up
cold?
unknowingly. Didn't
And when you're bear hunting, do you have to wear orange? Like what? How much orange?
Is there differences when you're bear hunting in a drive than there is?
Honestly, not really. No,
very similar.
It's just a different animal.
Have you killed a bear?
No, I have not.
No. Do you bear hunt every year?
Yeah, it's more of a social thing.
Is it?
Yeah, bear camp.
And that's not an uncommon mindset.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of folks
it's a
in
social
Pennsylvania, everybody loves to go to bear camp.
No,
very few people bring a bear home with them.
So
I think it's funny too. Like if you do get a bear, like your deer hunting gets a little bit more amped up. Your turkey hunting gets a little bit. Everybody, once you get the bear, once you get that thing, that
going for that triple trophy,
the triple crown is that much closer. So you know what I mean. So like it really does heighten that state of But I can't imagine.
Have you been on a drive where a bear was taken?
One time.
What's that like? Can you describe that for me? Because I think bear to me are very elusive. I've only ever seen a handful of them, and
most of those are at the zoo.
Most of those are at the zoo.
Right.
Yeah, a few not at the zoo.
Coke commercials.
It's exciting, even though you might not be the one who pulled the trigger.
Yeah,
you were successful in the goal that was set.
It's like everybody in camp wins, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it harder to? I don't know what the word is. Is it harder to push a bear than it is to push a deer?
I guess, yeah.
Really?
I mean, it can be. It all depends.
I would say that too.
Would they come out of a den, or if you're pushing them, or will they just hunker down in there and
define den? Hole in the ground or up against a log?
So here's the thing, and you guys jump on me if this is wrong. I know, I know for like I've seen when you do this very same thing year after year, you push out the same thing, same areas with similar amounts of guys. It doesn't matter. The animals get educated.
Oh, exactly. Yes,
they know.
They absolutely know. Like I watched. I was a low guy one time, and
Were you sad, bud?
and it was just depressed for a while.
Okay.
No, I was the low man, and
Yeah.
and you can, like I said, you can see the guy above you. Sometimes you can see the guy even further up, depending on if you're on a mountainside or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I saw deer literally stop, hunker down, like just kind of weirdly hunker down in between two drivers, like the top guy and the middle guy. And then once they got to a certain point, then they kind of like wrapped around the top guy.
Yeah.
And it was like no one could do anything. They didn't see those deer.
Yeah.
I'm too far away to capitalize on anything. But they knew to just stop what they're doing. These guys are going to push through. And then they cut up around.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
like
the weirdest thing.
That's like my first doe when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
That doe acted like she knew what she was doing. She got pushed. She felt the pressure. Instead of just barreling out of the area, she just calmly squirted up out of the drive, waited for the guys to go through, and then she was going to come right back down to where she was. She knew what she was doing.
And for some reason,
you happen to be at the right place at the right time.
And that's where that flanker comes in. You have a guy that's sitting, like when you're on your rectangle here like this.
Yeah.
You have a guy sitting here and here, not all the way down here with the other sitters, but have guys come in and sit here to catch those animals
Just
that
in
are
case.
squirting out the side.
About halfway down.
A quarter of the distance to a half of the
And
distance.
then when the
whatever
pushers
drive is, yep.
meet up with those guys and they start pushing.
Try to stay a little bit ahead.
Yeah.
And that's something too, Stevie, like that we're just starting to talk about now with the drives is a lot of times you almost can't drive out the same area the same way because the deer get educated. You know, as soon as the deer start, getting onto your tactics, that's when you have to start kind of shifting your drive, either coming in from a different direction or adding standers where you didn't have standers before, or even blockers sometimes where those people aren't going to have shots, but they're just there just to deter deer from going that direction.
It's something as simple as pushing the opposite direction.
You just beat me to my story.
Yeah.
So there was the best story I can have to offer up. This is picture a triangle.
Yeah.
But it's
upside down.
Acute
Bermuda Triangle.
It's an acute triangle. So there's a real fine point on this. I'll bet you it was about 60 acres of woods. Comes to this really small point, but then it gets wider as you go down through, and it ends at this old logging road. Well, because of the shape of this thing, we would put standers up on the old logging road, and we would start with the group of drivers all huddled together, and we would start walking out, and we hunted and put that drive on the exact same way for years.
Yeah.
Right? And this is where my dad grew up, and they drove it the same way. So for probably decades, this 60-acre piece of woods was pushed the same way a number of times each year. And we get the occasional deer out of it.
Yeah.
Biggest buck we ever killed up there off of that property came when one year we pushed it the other way, and this buck did not know what to do. First, he ran to the stander.
Yeah.
Turned around as soon as he saw somebody there, ran back toward the drive, and then just stopped and stood there, broadside, 20 yards from the guy who was walking through the woods making noise. He didn't know what to do. The buck was completely confused.
Wow.
Massive 8-point that probably, for the area, I say massive 3 times or 4.
Yeah.
But maybe 130s.
Wow.
But just a big, beautiful buck for mountain woods. And because we pushed it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's all it takes.
It's just that one thing that just, like I said, if you do it enough, that's how crazy it gets, because there's so many variables, and there's nothing perfect about it. There's 0 things that are perfect about it, but every once in a while it just works.
Yep.
So Matt, squirrel.
Yep.
Bear,
yep.
Deer,
ducks,
turkey, ducks.
Is there anything safe?
Well, so far it sounded like bear because he hadn't got one. But what's going to be your species of choice? If you had your druthers, you could hunt anything tomorrow. What would it be?
Ducks.
Ducks.
Nice.
Diver ducks or puddle ducks?
Either. Just ducks in general. Waterfowl.
What draws you to that?
Do you like geese too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have recipes for them?
Haven't got one. Never got a geese yet, so
Yeah. Gotcha.
Can't help you on that.
We need recipes.
Recipes is what you worry about after.
Yeah.
Well, I worry about it all the time. That's all I think.
You should get them after you buy them. Receipts.
What do I like about?
Yeah. What makes you want to hunt a duck versus a deer or bear?
I don't know.
Is it the
feathers?
It's the feathers.
It's hard to explain. I don't know.
Buoyancy.
Do you hunt? Do you hunt alone? Do you hunt by yourself?
No, I hunt with my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And his dad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm just having a hang up here.
Yeah, it's cool. Like
Take your time.
I think that the duck hunting is just a completely different situation from deer hunting.
Would you say you're proficient at calling them?
No.
Adequate. Let's try adequate. Are you
can
adequate
go
at
with
calling
adequate,
them?
yeah.
Are your guys good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who taught you to duck hunt?
My brother-in-law.
Really?
Yeah.
And
so you married up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good on you.
So the only duck hunting or waterfowl at all that I've done is with Stevie, sea ducks, things like that. And there we didn't call it all. It was all just flagging and decoys out.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Stop it. I know it was. It was great fun. But we didn't do any calling at all.
Don't remind me how fun it was.
If, hunting in Pennsylvania for waterfowl, is it in any way similar to turkey hunting? You're calling birds, you're putting a decoy out.
I think that's a stretch, bud.
I'm just wondering. I have no idea.
Easy, stretchy.
I have no
reference point.
Because if somebody told me, if I listed off, if I rattled off a list of the things that they hunt and they chose turkey over whitetail,
right?
For me, I would immediately go, okay, so it's about the tactic. It's calling in the bird. It's the,
gotcha.
It's that reaction that you get, and the sound of the animal responding to what you're doing.
All that sexual tension.
It's all the sexual tension, the things that are so much different about turkey hunting than whitetail hunting, right? Like I could get that and I could sort of quantify it. So now, if waterfowl is the game of choice and we're trying to figure out why, that's what I'm trying to get to. Is it the calling factor?
There's an interaction between you and the animal.
Watching them react to the way that you're calling. So there is some similarities that I'm doing.
I got it now. I mean,
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's not like, you're talking sexy to turkey, you're talking sexy to deer, but like ducks, you're kind of just like, hey, I'm over here and I'm eating food and
I think that's sexy. When you tell me that, I'm coming in. I'm coming in hot.
Especially if they got a buffet.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you're not hitting ducks in a breeding season. You're you're catching them during the
right. It's a social call. It's not a breeding call.
Yes.
But it's an animal reacting to something that you're doing versus being in the right place at the right time, which is the vast majority of Pennsylvania whitetail.
That's a good way to
harvest.
Good way to put it.
Great point.
Thanks. Is that part of what it?
Yeah, I guess that would be part of it. I don't know.
Is it social for you? Is it more of
There's that social aspect, but then there's also that, I don't know. Ever since I gotten into waterfowl, it's just
je ne sais quack.
I see what you did there.
I love it.
It's the
like I'm already planning on missing the last day of deer season this year to go out waterfowl hunting.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Whether I have a deer or not, I'm going.
I was just gonna say that is if you get a deer before the last day.
Yeah.
But even if you don't,
even if I don't,
matter.
I'm going waterfowl hunting.
Well, it sounds like even though I asked the question, you've already decided on your answer.
Yeah, I've had that plan.
It's all about the waterfowl.
Yeah,
that's good.
Waterfowl's fun for me.
I like it.
The hard work they put into it, the decoys.
It is a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of work. If you're not going to sit there all day. Wow. I did just a few times I've been out with guys, it's a lot of it. I couldn't imagine, going into, you see these guys hunting snow geese and they're putting out hundreds of decoys and, or hunting just Canadians and you're putting out, dozens of decoys.
You're pounding it into crusty, frozen tundra.
Yeah.
At 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Or busting ice to go, set decoys in a pond or in a lake. It's a commitment. Yeah. It's not for the
Canadian
the faint-hearted.
geese.
Yes.
You said just Canadians.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right.
Oh boy.
Whew.
My bad.
Sorry,
Canadian
Canada.
geese.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
Sorry, Canada.
Here come the Mounties.
Oh.
Matt, we like to do a fun segment with all of our guests.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just because you're in house, you're not excluded from it.
Don't look at that.
Spice that up, Kyle.
Don't look at that list up there.
Hit 'em with
no
the fun
previews.
segment.
Yeah, no
No
cheating.
sneak peeks.
We like to do a little thing called the Fast Five, where we throw 5 questions at you,
I hope
real
you're ready.
fast.
Okay.
You gotta throw us some answers. There's no wrong answer.
But we'll tell you if they're wrong.
We will.
Ryan, why don't you go ahead and kick this one off?
All right. Tell me right now, Matt, if you could, what's one thing you can't live without in the outdoors?
Good set of boots.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good answer.
What's your
Footwear
brand?
is super
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, that's the most important, I believe.
And what would be that brand of choice? It's 1A.
I like my Red Wings. That's what I wear out in the woods.
Okay. You could have said Muck,
Oh,
but I'll take Red Wings as an answer. Nah, it's cool.
Yeah. No wrong answers, remember, Ryan?
Warm feet is a happy, happy day.
That's true. And dry feet.
Yeah. All right, Kyle, go ahead, bud.
All right. What is your favorite movie? Doesn't have to be hunting related.
well, I knew that. Can I lump that into anything?
Yep.
Rob Zombie films.
Ah.
I just watched 3 from Hell.
I haven't watched it yet. Don't
the
give me
other
any
day.
spoilers.
I won't
I have it at
spoil
the
that.
house. I ordered it.
Don't
It's at the
spoil
house.
it, Ryan.
I won't, bud. But you're not wrong. I mean, all of
Rob
that
Zombie
stuff he
films.
does, obviously, it's
Was there 3
darker in
and they were
nature.
from hell?
There were 3 of them, and that is
Spoiler
exactly where
alert.
they're from.
Spoiler alert.
Nah, it's a follow up of House of a Thousand Corpses.
House of a
and-
Thousand Corpses,
and Devil's
Devil's
Rejects.
Rejects, all that stuff. It's a good series, and he also redid some of the
Halloween. Michael
Halloween
Myers.
movies. Yep,
Yeah.
very cool.
All right, Matt, what's one thing you do every day to prepare for your outdoor lifestyle?
Listen to hunting podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mostly the Rotten River Pursuits one.
Is there any?
I haven't heard of any other ones out there.
What's your other favorites?
The one that got me started on podcasts was Meat Eater, and then I
Yeah.
found all the other ones from there.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's a
Solid.
good one.
Matt, I'm really looking forward to this question. What's on your bucket list? And it could be anything. Like, I know we talked about a lot of things, and there again, nothing is safe with you. What's where do you go in the future here?
I hope it's Chester County Chipmunk Hunt, but let's see what he says.
Ooh,
I want to go to Montana in the worst kind of way.
really?
What do you want to
What do
kill
you
out
want to
there?
go after out there?
Mountain lion.
No, elk, muleys, probably.
There you go.
Being a big waterfowl guy, you don't want to go to like North Dakota
mean-
and smack a couple ducks.
It's quacktastic out there.
I've heard people going out there.
Manitobas.
Yeah.
Kyle, he just gave a perfect answer. Don't question him about waterfowl.
I'm sorry.
We're
You blew it.
going after muleys and elk, bud.
I know.
You can see the best part about this is we get to invite people to their
To his bucket
ourselves
list.
to
Yeah,
their
we-
bucket
yeah.
list.
Ah.
When
Great
you give us
choice.
an answer, we have to go with.
Yeah, those are the rules.
That's the catch. Nah,
We
it's-
come with you and document it via podcast.
That's good stuff. Even if you would have suggested a waterfowl hunt, we'd be along with that
Yeah.
one too.
Either way, we're coming.
Like it or not. All right.
Tell your brother-in-law.
That brings us right around now to
I
number
rate your
5.
Best friends.
So number 5, Matt, what makes you happy?
My family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't tell us about your family. We didn't even get to that. When you say your family, who are you talking about?
Melissa, and then my 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? How old are you?
I have a daughter. She is 8, and then I have a boy. He's 3, and then I have my youngest boy is 1.
Wow, you got your hands full there, bud.
I sure
I'd
do.
say you do.
Yeah.
You need some of that Kickstart.
Yeah.
You should probably
grab a couple cans on your way out
before you go.
Give your day that essential boost it needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Also,
do you drink coffee?
I do, yes.
Do you?
A lot.
Good timing.
Yeah.
Tell them what we got for them, bud.
But we have a sample of duck blind coffee from our friend Denny Vish.
First flight.
Hopefully you'll migrate to a better cup.
How's that sound?
That is the goal.
Sounds good, yeah.
We'll actually send you out of here instead of sending it to you. We'll send you out of here
Send
with
you
some
home
of
with
that
it.
duck blind coffee.
So, guys and folks at home, if you want to get some Duck Blind coffee, just go to duckblind.online and you can get whatever you want.
It's good stuff. They got a whole line of things out there.
A couple different varieties and some apparels.
And we heard Denny a few weeks ago. I mean, they're the real deal. Roasting the beans themselves. It comes in smelling like grass and leaves like smelling like delicious coffees. So
Night flight, first flight decaf. That's what they have.
Based on quality, you can't go wrong. So, Matt, you're going to enjoy that coffee.
All right. Looking forward to it.
And thank you very much for your time. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
As Stevie said countless times, these in-studio guests are so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and not only just the fact that they're in studio, but the fact that when we talk to these folks, it's all about things that are happening in PA.
Yeah.
And Will said it a number of times. We love the idea of keeping PA sexy.
Yeah.
And Matt is doing that.
He is.
Matt, how can people track you down, follow you, get in touch with you?
Like a blood dog?
Yeah.
I was thinking more along the lines like social media, but whatever.
But whatever you're into.
Yeah.
Stevie, people can just go to unitedbloodtrackers.org and they can find a local tracker. Put them right in touch with Matt.
They'll find the Weidman.
Yeah. They'll probably start here at the studio and then just track his central.
But you can find me on Instagram at MD Weidman. Weidman spelled Weidman.
All right.
Cool.
Nice. It's a good way to keep track of things.
Before we let Matt go, Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about this month's closing sponsor?
All right. This month's episodes are brought to you in part by Protection First Class Outdoors. PFC lubes were designed and developed to protect and lubricate your firearms, your bows, your tree stands, heck, all your outdoor equipment. Guys, I'm telling you, this stuff was originally designed to use in automotive undercoatings. Now, it don't get more corrosive than that.
I heard that. That's true.
Make sure you head on over to pfcoutdoors.com. Check out everything they got going on over there. Pick up some of that lube. It's the ticket.
Kyle, kick this pig and tell people where they can find us.
They can find us on all the social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitters at Rutten River Pursuits. They can also find this podcast and many of our previous episodes.
All the previous episodes, in fact.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadios.
Did I ever tell you guys how much I love the Spotifys?
I believe you have, and you aren't wrong. It's good stuff.
And don't forget to check out the website at RuttenRiverPursuits.com.
You guys liking the new logo?
Loving it.
Me too.
I do. That shield emblem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good shape.
Yeah, we might need to get that on some swag here soon.
People like circles.
Logo, but yeah.
Circles are good.
Circles are great.
They're infinite.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
Everybody loves pie.
That shield's pretty protective.
It is.
Matt, do you like it?
Yeah, I'm digging it. I like it.
Don't lie to me.
I'm not lying.
Don't you dare. Good stuff, fellas. Love it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks for
a
coming
week.
on, Matt.
Yep, thank you.
We owe you one.
Heck yeah.
Bring it with us.
Peace.
See it.
Did you wear the muck boots with the bread bags?
No.
Am I?
Did you ever
I can't remember wearing bread bags on my feet.
Yeah,
with sneakers or those stupid rubber boots.
They wanted you to not get your feet wet.
Yeah.
Always
None
looking
of
out.
you guys have done that.
I heard stories of it. I just have never
man.
experienced it directly.
Your parents were rich.
Must be nice to have boot liners.
What do you mean sitting and standing?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, look, what does that mean? We figure out
One guy's gonna sit.
I understand that. Sit where, stand where.
Well, that's the
Well,
first thing.
you
You
have
gotta come
to
up with an
decide
area
whether or not you're
where
sitting or standing before you determine where.
I'll let you keep going there.
I don't know if you will.
Well, that's a good
Please
point.
hold the question, Stevie.
Matt, I think you mentioned about bear hunting that way, correct?
Yes.
Is there differences between a bear?
I
hunting
wear
drive and a
clothes.
deer?
Should have seen that one coming.
Oh yeah, sorry, I teed
Doesn't it
that
get
up
cold?
unknowingly.
Yeah.
Didn't I?
And when you're bear hunting, do you have to wear orange? Like what? How much orange? Je ne sais quack.